Okay, so now I've got the sketch here. I have made it smaller, so if I zoom out, you'll be able to see I scaled it down because, again, I want it to kind of show up in this area right here on the banner. And again, it's at 600 dpi. I'm zoomed in 100%. I have a sketch layer, which I'm going to lower the opacity of so I can see the inks more clearly. I will add a layer and call it ink. And then this is just the standard Photoshop brush that I use. It's going to be, this is basically the ink brush, so, you know, pretty standard stuff right there. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just start working on it, and it doesn't really matter where I start, of course. All right. So whatever your style is, it's totally fine. Everybody's got their own, and they should, obviously. So at this point, I'm just trying to get this information in here. Take my time with these lines. This is an ink, and if you were really using a pen, you would not be using the same motions as if you were sketching, so it's not going to be a lot of short dash kind of sketchy lines. It's going to be more careful, thought about. You're going to spend a little bit more time thinking about the line weight, making sure these lines are just more methodical, more careful. So just continue to add where you think you need them to be. There is no right or wrong place. Of course, there are places where they look better than others, so that's just something that I'm not really able to teach that. Just something to think about. Of course, this would be her cheek, and that's because she's smiling, so she's going to have that kind of a cheekbone right there. Now I'm still going to flip this towards the end to make sure it doesn't look weird from the other direction as the sketch did when I initially put it down. I'm not ready to do that now, and it is ink, so it's a little bit, I mean, you want to try to get this as close to the final look and shape and scale as you can during the sketching phase, because it's a lot easier to make changes. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Even if it's not really great, I mean, not everybody is the best artist, so if there are some big errors or issues in the work that I'm doing, that's fine. But I am trying to think about it. I am trying to make it as basically the best quality that I can, regardless. I think everybody's goal should be to make it the best that they can make it. I don't really rotate my canvas too often. I do have a key on my... I do have a hotkey for it, so I don't actually, I think it's R. Actually, I think it's just R in Photoshop, is just to do a rotation, and then if you hold R and Shift, you can snap it to like a 90 degrees or a 75 or a 60. I think it's in 15 degree increments. So I just try to make sure I kind of get a different line weight on here. I don't want every line to be the same. And if I was using like those mechanical pens, like those microns, I would just go over it again and basically just kind of sculpt the ink. But because this is digital, I can just press harder. Now sometimes I will just grab one of the eyes if it's like a straight on, like if there's no angle to the drawing. I might just take this eye, copy it, flip it, and use essentially the same drawing for the left and the right side. So for example, I might even do something like that for her pigtails, because they're kind of, I don't know. I think because I flipped it and I already have a sketch that looks pretty good, I don't think I'm going to need to do that. It just can be a time-saving element, although if you don't make changes to it, like if you don't customize it, it can be, I wouldn't say eagle-eyed viewers, but it can be obvious if someone's actually looking for it. And it's kind of weird if you see some artwork and you're like, you know what, every single detail line, every single line is exactly the same on the left and the right, and it's just like, oh, that guy just copied and pasted it. So if you do that, then I would recommend maybe trying to go in and make a couple of manual adjustments so that it doesn't look like you did what you did. So this one might end up not being quite perfect or quite really great, but we'll see. We'll flip it. We'll adjust it just like we did on the sketch, just to make sure it looks, there's no glaring issues that you just can't see when you're dialed into one particular view or one particular zoom length. Like I'm on here at 200%, so when I zoom out, I might see something that I don't like. And that's fine. But I'm going to need to make sure I pay attention to correcting it. So let's see, the ears, for the most part, are going to be the same height. I don't want it to be really weird and awkward, so come over here and erase that, of course. Okay, so I don't really like the way this looks here. Let's adjust it. All right, let's zoom out and see what we've got. So it kind of looks a little bit weird to me. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm just going to continue for right now. So again, sometimes like if it's a straight on pose like this, I may just take the side that I think looks better and copy and paste it in a, flipped horizontally so that I can not only save myself time, but make it look better. There's no point in not doing that since you do have that option, you have that ability since it's digital. Now, if this were done on a traditional comic board or in another traditional medium, then you wouldn't have that option. And you'd need to be a little bit more careful, probably spend more time in the sketching stage and flipping it back and forth, which of course you just need to get a light behind you so you can see it in the same way, but you certainly can flip it or hold it up in front of a mirror. You could do that too. But the point is that just because it would be traditional doesn't mean you're not able to do the same trick. It's just you have to do it in a different way. But it's definitely worth it. It's easier to do digitally, but you don't have to, for sure. So I'm not thinking I really love this expression, and I think there's something weird going on with her. These are not matching really well at all. So let's see. I think because this one is cutting in and that one is going out, they don't match, and it's kind of a little bit strange. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't know yet. And these don't look like they're in the same spot either. So this is a little bit tricky, and I don't exactly like her expression. I do think, as I'd mentioned before, that a kind of a blank, dumb, curious kind of look is going to be better if she's maybe looking up towards this area with her eyes. I think that's going to end up looking a lot better. So eventually I'm going to get a reference sheet, and if I can't find that expression with this actor, I can even just take my own photo and use that as reference. One thing you'd have to think about is, again, her cheekbones are up here because she's smiling and she's got that movement with her mouth that's pushing this skin up into her cheekbones, causing this kind of a circular roundness. And if her facial expression was totally different, then her muscles wouldn't be doing that. And I'd have to get rid of this big cheekbone kind of area here, and it would change the shape of her face, and I'd still want it to look like the same person. So that would just be something that in the sketch phase I'd just be more careful of, and I'd just keep working on it until it looked more or less like the pose and the same actor or same character. Again, the whole purpose of getting reference of a real person is so that you can maintain consistency from panel to panel and expression to expression and angle to angle. It's really I guess it's not super important because there are tons of artists out there who kind of only can do a couple of different faces and they just throw different hair on them, like throwing wigs on a Barbie. And it hasn't hurt them and it still looks really good because maybe their artwork is just really dynamic or they have like a really cool style. So it's not totally necessary, but for the best quality and the best end product I can make, I think it's worth putting in a little bit more time to get the reference for the actor that I see in my mind playing this part had it been a movie. And these ears are totally not the same. I guess people's ears are not the same from one side to another, but at the same time it's kind of bothering me. So yeah, once again, I'm probably going to just change the pose, and this whole artwork that I'm doing right now is going to be scrapped. I still wanted to go through the process. I still wanted to record this. You can kind of see how it's being worked. And this is just the inking part, so I don't know if I really want to do... I think that looks better. I would have done that in the coloring stage anyway, but it can be done now. I think it definitely makes it look better. It makes it look less sort of alien. I don't know if that's the right word, but so with this, just kind of trying to vary the line weights a little bit, and even when I'm pressing as hard as I can, it doesn't really get too thick. So in this case, I do have to go in and manually add thicker lines. I am on a pretty small point. You can see it's 5. Now there is, in more recent versions of Photoshop, you can turn on or turn up the smoothing level so that your pen draws more slowly, but it's a lot more, and it's up here, it's smoothing. I'm at 0. If you do 100, you can't draw fast, but you see how smooth that is. That would be more like a brush, like a brush inking. So like if I went in here, and it is a lot slower because it needs to calculate these smooth. And I mean, it looks really pretty, but you don't really want to be, in my opinion, you don't really want to be combining these styles. You kind of want to go for either or. You either want to go for a, I guess you'd say more of a crow quill or freehand kind of a style like I'm doing right here. Or you want to go with more of a smooth brush-like style. I would recommend not combining them because it's going to look a little bit weird. All right, I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but I'm not going to color this. I'm going to I mean, there is the chance I could use this one. I just think because of her personality, and I think doing a different expression is going to work better. So when I do the next recording of this character, I might pick it up where I already have drawn, penciled, and inked the expression that I actually want to go with. And then I can show you how I would color it with the real, with the finish, with the final expression, because I don't know if I'm really going to use this one. Now that I'm looking at it, I mean, it does look, I guess it does look pretty good, but I still think the other expression would be better. So at the moment I am on the fence about this, but I don't know. I guess if you have any thought about it, you can leave a comment and let me know let me know if you like this one enough to keep it as the main image or not. I really don't know. I don't know. I might just color this one and record that process and just sort of keep it as a B-roll, or keep it as an unused type of, because I'm going to be working on stuff that maybe in the end doesn't get used in the final comic or on the final website, YouTube or something like that. So I could very well do some stuff that I show that never gets used, but at least it would be here to see. So at the very least, this could be something that I finish just for video purpose, but I'll probably need to get on the collection of more reference sooner rather than later. Hopefully I can catch the expression from the actor, from the angle. I don't know how likely that's going to be, but I could get lucky. And if I don't see it, then I can just do a photo of myself doing that expression, doing this expression and doing that expression, because I'll need to see what changes occur in my face that I can translate to this face. So in my expression, which cheek, like how the cheekbones and the forehead and the nose react and the mouth, and then even though I have a totally different face shape than this person, people's faces are built basically the same way. So I might do that. So we'll see how it goes. I just really don't know by now. So I'm finishing up here on the inking. I think the line weight on her hair is quite a lot thicker than the line weight on her face, and I don't really like that because I did the face at zoomed in at 200 while the hair was zoomed at 100, and I was therefore pressing harder on the hair lines than I was on the face lines. And I don't want like her lip to be too thick either on the top or the bottom, but I do want to sort of even it out a little bit so that the hair and the face don't look so disconnected. I want them to be more cohesive, look a little bit like they belong together. So let's see if that made any difference. Yeah. Okay. So if I zoom out all the way, this is what it looks like, and we'll have to see how it goes. And when I put it on, when I start testing it as the banner, I am gonna see if I need to maybe add more to the bottom here, maybe put a little bit more like down towards her shoulders. I'll test it on different devices and see how it looks and adjust it as I can. But before I do wrap this up, let's just test how it looks if I flip it horizontally. And you can see her face looks a little bit tilted to the side, which is kind of strange. So let's see. I will Control G and then I will Control T. Let's see if I just need to, whoops. Let's right click and rotate. Maybe like that. Let's see, how does this look? It still looks a little bit strange to me. Like this angle is different than this angle. So yeah, so let's see, I'm at 100%. So let's I think it could be a little bit because of her mouth, but in the photo, if you remember, and I don't have it up because, well, I don't, but that is the way her mouth moves. Like it does kind of flow up a little bit more on one side. It's a little bit of a crooked smile. And I'm thinking this eye is bigger than this eye, so again, it's digital, so we can make these kinds of changes. I'll just right click, transform, and maybe move it, make it a little bit larger. Let's try it again. Like that. This one, because it does look pretty good, but I don't really think it's going to be the way I end. So there is my ink for the face that may go on the banner, and it may go on the banner temporarily until I get an improved version. Either way, that's going to be, so that's not the same length either, which kind of bothers me, but people's hair is not always exactly the same. Where I ended on those lines on the outside here and here, that's pretty much the same. So yeah, I think overall, I think it looks pretty good. And I'm going to end it here. Thanks a lot, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to support me in this channel, please subscribe, and comments are always welcome. See you next time.